Welcome back to another episode of SmartFox TV.
In remembrance of 9/11, I wanted to highlight some of the hero dogs of 9/11 who worked tirelessly along their first responder owners at Ground Zero, which was the location of large piles of debris, dust, metal, and chemicals left behind where the World Trade Center once stood. These rescuers and their dogs had to be very careful because some of the wreckage had pockets or voids, and if they weren't careful, they could fall into them or shift the wreckage, which could trap them and possibly get them killed. What began initially as a search and rescue quickly became a recovery effort, as it became apparent that not many survived the attack and many family and friends were still waiting for loved ones. About 300 dog and handler teams responded to the call to come in and help, but only 100 of them were truly prepared for the challenge before them. Years later, many of these hero dogs, as well as those who worked alongside them, would pass from illnesses related to the 9/11 debris. These are just some of their stories. Riley, the golden retriever, was trained to find people alive, but he ended up helping to recover firefighters who lost their lives in the wreckage. He worked really hard and ended up doing another job entirely besides recovering people. He ended up cheering up a lot of firefighters who would come over and give him a hug after a long day's work. Lab retrievers Kobe and Guinness worked and searched for 12 hours a day for 11 days straight. They worked more than they were ever trained to work, but got to rest and play in between their jobs, eventually moving back to Southern California with their handler. They helped recover dozens of people from Ground Zero. Apollo and his handler arrived at the World Trade Center 15 minutes after the attack, and he became the first rescue dog to arrive on the scene after the Twin Towers collapsed. At one point, he almost died from fire and wreckage that fell on him, but he survived thanks to having been into a pool a little before the debris fell on him. He was really damp and that happened to save his life, and he continued to work shortly after that. Thunder and his handler were used to helping in natural disasters such as avalanches in Washington. When 9/11 happened, they moved to New York so that they could put their skills to the test and help with the recovery effort. Sage was only 18 months old and a newly trained rescue dog when she was brought to the Pentagon for her first mission. She helped her team find the person responsible for the attack on the Pentagon. Tracker, the German Shepherd, found the last survivor of the 9/11 attacks, Janelle Guzman McMillan. She was trapped for 27 hours under concrete until Tracker found her. Tracker's DNA was later chosen in the contest and used to clone 5 puppies in 2009, shortly after his death. Jake was rescued from the streets with many injuries and later returned as a search and rescue dog with his rescue and handler, Mary Flood of Utah Task Force 1. He worked at Ground Zero for 17 days and later helped to train other rescue dogs on how to track scents. Lastly, we have Brittany, the golden retriever who worked for 10 days with a volunteer firefighter handler at Ground Zero, and later helped in other disasters such as Hurricane Katrina and Hurricane Ivan. She was the last 9/11 search and rescue dog survivor before she passed in 2016 at 16 years old from kidney failure. As she entered the animal hospital, she was saluted by local firemen and rescue workers and later taken out with an American flag over her body. I hope you enjoyed today's segment on hero dogs of 9/11.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cartoon Trivia. Who is the voice actor for Batman in the animated series of 1992? Is it Reno Romano, Kevin Conroy, or Bruce Greenwood? Be back with the answer.
Hey everyone, this is Kim and thanks for joining me for the current news. An extremely rare event where 100 humpback whales, otherwise known as a megapod, basically a herd of whales, was seen off the coast of Sydney. Experts say that the possibility of why the humpback whales were near the coast of Australia was because they are depleting their food source in Antarctica by overfishing. Thus, they had to move down over there or down under. I hope you got that joke. A very popular show in the early 1990s was Blue's Clues. And in this show, you have Steve, who is the protagonist, along with his dog, Blue, who has to basically find the 3 clues to find the answer to what they're looking for. Over the weekend, Steve reached out to the past generation of when they used to watch the show to catch up on how he's doing in his life, and it was a very heartwarming message. Although this is only a little snippet, those in that generation from the early 1990s watching it from 1996 for a few years of their lives felt it as something that was very, very heartwarming and touching. It's fun to see where we all came and where we all are in our lives these last 20 years.
Hi. You got a second? Okay. You remember how when we were younger we used to run around and hang out with Blue and find clues and talk to Mr. Salt, freak out about the mail and do all the fun stuff, and then one day I was like, oh hey, guess what? Big news, I'm leaving. This is my brother Joe, he's your new best friend, and then I got on a bus and I left. And we didn't see each other for like a really long time. Can we just talk about that? Great, because I realized that was kind of abrupt. I just kind of got up and went to college, and that was really challenging, by the way, but great, because I got to use my mind and take a step at a time, and now I literally am doing many of the things that I wanted to do. And then look at you, and look at all you have done, and all you have accomplished in all that time, and it's just so amazing, right?
This is Kim, and thanks for joining me for the current news. Have a great day.
The voice actor for Batman in the animated series 1992 is Kevin Conroy. Kevin Conroy also played Batman in other series and animated movies. He even played Batman in the Arkham video game series. Thanks for playing Cartoon Trivia.
This is Kim. This is Tracy.
Hi, this is Sally.
And thanks for watching
SmartFox TV.
Stay foxy.